All right, 4 low first gear. Let's find some high rocks to get on here. Oh yeah! Oh baby! Oh! So you think you know about wheel articulation? What does it all mean? Today we're going to find out for real. Yeah, baby! So a lot of people talk about wheel articulation, but if you know what it actually means. So the idea behind wheel articulation is kind of the opposite of what most people think of when they think of off-roading stuff. When they think of off-roading, they think of the high stuff, the rocks, the real big tall stuff. But articulation is all about the opposite of high stuff, which is the low stuff, aka ruts. So when we think about articulation, we're thinking about the inverse of big rocks, and it's inevitable when you go off-road. So when you go off-road, your wheels are going to get down into a rut. It's just a matter of time. Well, these are some sharp rocks here. But when your wheels go down into a rut, an interesting phenomenon happens, and that is the wheel on the opposite axle, opposite wheel, so opposite axle, opposite wheel will lift up into the air. And when that happens, you lose traction. So pretend the area off the end of this surface represents a rut or hole in the ground. As this front tire drops down into the hole, the opposite axle, opposite wheel back here lifts up off the ground. So it's hard to see over the hill here. So if that rambling didn't make a lot of sense, and this is a steep drop, so let's take a look. When you can't see something, always walk it. This is a steep drop. I'll show you in a second here. It's a black diamondy type of drop here. And I'll move you around to give you a better view in a second here. But this is straight down. So speaking of ruts, we're going to go down into these ruts. And it's a combination of keeping your tires on these higher rocks. But I also don't want to go down into these ruts here too much, because again, it's going to lift the wheel on the opposite axle, opposite tire. I hope that makes sense. So this is a tricky line here. Ooh. But I think I'm going to favor the driver's side here and then try to get up on some high stuff. Let's move you around so you can kind of get a better idea here. All right, I'm gonna go I'm gonna go 4 low first gear here. Low first gear. This is downhill. Minding my tires. I'm looking again for high rocks. When I get on high rocks, I'm raising the low parts of the vehicles. Whoa. Okay. That's a fun little obstacle. Okay, so let's do an instant replay because instant replays are fun. This is very steep and rocky. These rocks are big and they are loose. You can see the rock slider got hit there on the passenger side. That's exactly what it's for. You just put the rock slider where it needs to be. And then again, I'm looking to put the tires on the biggest rocks possible, and down you go. So yeah, the emphasis that Toyota places on articulation has all to do with protecting the driver. Ooh, sharp turn here. Protecting the driver from lifting a wheel with ruts. So when you're dropped down into a hole, again, they're trying to keep that opposite tire from raising up on you, so you have more wheels down on the ground. More wheels down on the ground obviously equals more traction, and everybody is happier overall. Wow, look at that view down there. Okay, so what if you put a rear tire in the hole? That's what we're going to do here. We're on Cleghorn Ridge. Back drivers goes in the hole, front passenger lifts off the ground. Again, back drivers in the hole, and front passenger lifts right up off the ground. Now this is off camber to my driver's side. There's a few different lines here. This is steep. This is a steep off camber to my driver's side type of hill. And this is where, let me get 4-low first gear. This is where your stock suspension is going to shine, because articulation also helps your your roll angle here. It helps you from rolling left or right. That's the angle that you're literally rolling, your rollover angle. And the better your articulation with your roll angle, the better overall you'll do with not rolling over. Now, the point of today's video is not to tell you which vehicle has the better articulation. Instead, the point of this video is to tell you what articulation does for you off-road and why you might not want to ruin it by adding an ill-conceived aftermarket lift kit. But we got some rutted sections up here, and one of the reasons I like this stock Land Cruiser suspension is when I do hit ruts, because there is so much articulation, I don't have to worry about, again, that opposite axle, opposite wheel lifting in the air and losing traction. You know, there are some black diamond trails in this region that are literally there's no rocks, they're just all ruts. So 2N17X comes to mind. So some people wonder, why is a 2N17X a black diamond trail? There's no rocks on it, it's just a bunch of dirt. And the answer is, number one, it's steep, uphill and downhill. But the big issue with 2N17X is it's rutted. And the ruts bring a challenge to your vehicle's wheel articulation. And therefore, you have to be mindful of things like aftermarket lift kits that are generally stiffer, longer springs in order to give you that lift. You got to be mindful of stiffer, longer springs. I'm happy that I cut my rear bumper there. I don't have to worry about my departure angle and stuff like that. You have to be mindful of stiffer, longer springs with your aftermarket Chinese lift kits. And when you lift that vehicle, it already thinks that it's articulating down into a ditch, which means the threshold for that opposite wheel, opposite axle lifting off of the ground when you do go down into a ditch, that threshold is reduced, meaning you are going to get tippy and start lifting wheels more. Yes, I know it seems counterintuitive that you get a lift kit and you're going to lose articulation and become more unstable and more tippy, but that's exactly what we see on very rutted black diamond trails such as 2N17X. But I absolutely love what they engineered into these Land Cruisers. Generation after generation, they always get it right. They always improve. Might hit the front skid here. No. I'm in 4-low drive, by the way. This is rocky, rutted, uphill. And Again, I don't care. I'm still mindful of the tires getting in the ruts, but if they do, I realize that it's not going to lift me up on the opposite end. These are hills. I know they look flat. I don't care. This one looks a little rockier and funner, so we'll try this one. Now I'm just in drive. That's ATRA clicking and doing its thing. One of the things people like to say about ATRA is it can't do a loose uphill, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it can. They don't know what they're talking about. They're theorizing that it can't, but they're not actually out here like I am today, or anybody else with ATRA that's actually out on the trails. I'm not avoiding loose uphills, I'm looking for them. All right, speaking of looking for them, let me get down into gear here because we are going up. Let's just do 4-low first gear so we can just take it easy going up here, relatively speaking. All right. All right. All right, so this is the rocky. To the left, my driver is the rocky stuff. So I took this down a second ago. Let's take it up. So again, this is going to look flat on camera, but this is a straight uphill, and the idea here is I'm going to keep my tires on the high stuff. This is loose, so this is an ATRA test of, well, you want a locker because blah, blah, blah. This is going to be ATRA loose uphill. All right, 4-low first gear. Let's find some high rocks to get on here. Oh yeah! Oh baby! Oh! Okay. All right, here we go. Let's do a replay. Lexus GX 460 eats these rocks up. We're going to take a closer look. Just watch how we're climbing this. It's completely effortless. Now look at the front driver's tire. I'm aiming right for this big rock. Front driver's tire is going up on this rock. Now so does the rear driver's. Up it goes, just like that. Now again, big rock to the drivers. It's going to go right up this rock on the driver's front. Now driver's rear is going to climb right up. We don't even hit a rock slider. It just climbs right up, completely effortless. That is ATRA in action. And up she goes. Now if you heard any drama of like loose rocks there, like, oh, you saw the wheels spinning or the rocks flying, and you're like, if I had a locker that would have not happened. That's not true. It's the loose surface. No amount of locking a vehicle is going to make the surface not loose anymore. So ATRA or locker, the loose surface is a loose surface. Ball bearings are ball bearings. Locker is not going to change that. Look at these big rocks. I can hear a keyboard armor. That's just a flat graded dirt road. Sound like I smacked the gas tank skid pretty hard back there, but I don't know. I could just be guessing, but I definitely came down on something back there, but that was fun. Let's see, do we still have gas? Oh, still says almost a full tank. So the stuff about ATRA going uphill and loose surface, that's not true. In fact, I'm going to argue that what I just did there with the loose surface, continual steep uphill rocky loose surface is actually better because ATRA is sending the power and shifting it around. I know that triggers. Ooh, what's up there? I don't think I've ever been up that way. Let's see what's up here. Maybe I have. I don't know. Never forget. Still on 4-low first. Let's just try this out. I don't even know what's up here. This is again somewhat loose, but whoa. Am I not going fast enough for my photographer here? This is all uphill, by the way. No, I'll argue that it helps even more on these loose type of surfaces. I'm just trying to find my way back to the the quote main trail. Looks like it might be up there, but not liking how it's just thinning out there. Whew. All right. When in doubt, turn around. We could go up this rocky top. That's steep and uphill, but we could go up this last rocky top, and then I could see if I could find the trail. I know you want me to, so why not? All right, let's do it, or try to. Always remain humble. I know it may seem like I'm talking smack on this channel, but I can assure you I am staying very, very humble. All right. Again, this is going to be straight uphill. So I'm just going to stay 4 low first, and it's really rocky. And so if it gets weird, I'll just bail. And this will be considered black diamondy stuff. I'm even going to go and drive right now. Second, first. Whoa, these are some big boulders. Oh, snap. Holy moly. Woo! Oh my goodness. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. That might have been one of the craziest. That might be one of the craziest ones I've done. I've got to find my way back to the regular trail. As you can see here, this is nothing but motorcycle tracks, but it looks like it gets a little better over there. What we just did was real there. And I'm actually surprised I didn't hit anything. And when I say hit anything, I'm talking about the actual body of the GX, but it looks fun. Oh my goodness. There's some very rocky stuff so far. So far the car is okay, I think, but I heard some really interesting noises. So all right, we're off that crazy rocky section here. We're back on a more flat or easy part, and that was fun. I don't hear any noises in the drivetrain anymore. In my experience, when you're off-road like this and you get into a crunchy spot and you think you broke something and you think your Land Cruiser's broken, what happens is it's you know, you drive for a little bit and then the rocks fall out and it goes back to being a Land Cruiser again, and it goes back to being the tank that it is, the elephant, the rhino that this thing is, and it never ceases to amaze. I think Toyota's two biggest secrets with their off-road vehicles are ATRA, MTS, and other Toyota traction control systems, and EKDSS or KDSS in the case of our Lexus GX460. That's the disconnectable front and rear sway bar that allows for that awesome articulation that you saw when we went up that big rocky section or down that rocky section. We took it both ways, and the vehicle just crawled up it and down it like a mountain goat because of that awesome wheel articulation that Toyota engineers knew to put into these Land Cruiser Prados years ago. The Lexus GX460 / Land Cruiser Prado had the first front and rear disconnectable sway bar before Jeep Wrangler Rubicon had it. That shows you how important wheel articulation was for those off-road engineers at Toyota way back then.